My dad recently just hit $10,000 for his 90-day total on eBay, and he's super pumped about it. I'm excited to take a few minutes to talk about how he got there, what his best tips and tricks are to help you, and what his current struggles and things that he's running into are that's impeding him from getting to his future goal of making $5,000 per month on eBay. So after watching my channel and my business grow for about 2 years, my dad decided that he would start his own eBay store, and he started, like many of you guys, in a category that he was passionate about, which was CDs. He grew up in the 70s and 80s, and he loved going to rock concerts, Motley Crue, Kiss, Ozzy Osbourne, all that stuff. So he started selling off his personal collection of CDs, and he started to go to thrift stores and garage sales to find these CDs to sell on eBay. He quickly got a couple hundred CDs up and immediately started to get sales on his fast-moving, one-of-a-kind Kiss CDs, started to get a ton of lower-end sales from the Cars and the Eagles, and he got a ton of really good sales from decent bands like Pink Floyd, ton of different stuff like that. And he just listed any and all CDs that he could find that he felt were popular and had a demand. And he soon realized that he sold off a ton of the in-demand CDs, would have a consistent flow of the decent CDs, and then he realized that a ton of the CDs that he was putting up were worthless and we're not moving. So with his experience of watching my channel and asking me a ton of questions and advice, he quickly pivoted to continue to look for those in-demand CDs, but he also became a traditional everything seller. He only sources on Fridays and Saturdays usually. He just gets up and he goes to garage sales and he gets as many items as he can because he still works his full-time job. He does a lot of stuff in landscaping and handyman work, but he also comes home and he works. He's so passionate about it. He does about 5 or 6 hours a day on top of his full-time occupation. And he really just lists everything that he can. I also have him listing a few items into my eBay shop every day as well. First off, he started in a category that he knew a lot about and he was passionate in, and that was able to spark the will to actually sit down and list items. Once that was coupled with money coming in, he was able to have the fire under him to continue to keep pushing and making money. So he believes that it is very smart to start in a category that you like, so that way you already have the passion to list them, you already know what you're looking for. But then it is important to stay humble, to not be prideful, and to continue to learn what is selling, not what you think should sell. He said he also fell into the trap of just trying to get up as many listings as possible, and he went through the process several times very quickly of deleting items from his eBay store because they weren't getting enough views or sales or traction. And he quickly learned that some items aren't going to move as fast as he thought. Now, I don't recommend that you delete a ton of things out of your eBay store. He was a bit emotional about it and did it too quickly because a lot of those items would have sold eventually. But he's really understanding the principle that if he puts in items that have demand, they will sell. So his first 2 tips are sell something that you're actually interested in, and the next is to seek out those in-demand items and don't list only the things that you think will sell, but list the things that actually have trackable sales data that shows you that they are selling. His next tip is that you should let everyone know what you are doing. So he's traditionally just going out to yard sales on Fridays and Saturdays, but with the people that he works with in his landscaping business and his handyman work, he lets them know, hey, like I'm selling this stuff on eBay. And a lot of these people are saying, man, I have a lot of that stuff that has just been sitting in my shed forever. Do you want to take a look at it? A lot of people are giving him some resources, some items to sell for free. Many of them are just saying, take this whole pile for $100. And then he's also very, very social. And when he's at these yard sales and garage sales, he talks to people. And then he offers to come by at the end and buy out the rest of the stuff that doesn't sell or buy it at a very cheap rate. So open up your mouth, talk to people, let them know what you are doing, and some doors will open up to you so that you can get more items at a lower rate and then get them into your store. But that leads to his first struggle that he is trying to work out right now, and that is that he already has a huge death pile. He's already got a ton of items that are just sitting throughout the house and in his little locations where he does his business starting to drive his wife a little bit crazy and himself a little bit, and he's really trying. He's already starting to understand that even when items are free or close to free, they aren't always worth picking up because of the ramifications that come from not listing them. So he's focusing on tackling his death pile and making sure that he's not getting too much inventory, because unlisted inventory, not only does it not make you any money, but it also can add a little bit of stress to your own anxiety and to your relationships. So, but no, my mom and dad are super excited about this new little venture, and they're doing great. The second struggle that he has, that many of you probably have, is shipping. I was talking to him the other day about a little bit of different strategies that I use in my shipping, and he had a ton of really in-demand items that were getting hundreds and hundreds of views, but they weren't getting the sale for some reason. He adjusted his calculated shipping just slightly, lowering his rate by like $1 to $6, and they all sold immediately that night. So it's really important to make sure that you understand the basics of shipping, and then really learn how to use these intermediate and advanced methods to really get sales. If you are a beginner and you really want to see your sales increase, I would recommend having very competitive shipping rates. The easiest way to do this is to just use the button where you can give the buyer the discount on the calculated rates. Now, what I would do in that situation is I would just make my measurements a little bit longer, or I would make the weight a little bit higher. For example, if I had something that fit in a 12 by 12 by 12 and it weighed 8 pounds, I would list that at 12 by 12 by 12, and then I would put the weight as 12 pounds. So that way the buyer is still getting an amazing deal, and you are still able to get a little bit of money on top of it, because you do have to pay fees on shipping, and you do have to spend your gas and your materials to package up those items. And then what happens is, when you sell that item, when you go to eBay, you change it to the exact weight and the exact dimensions, and then you print out the label for that price. So you're able to give the buyer a huge discount, and you're also able to get a little bit of money on top. So that way you're not losing money on shipping. And there's a ton of different strategies around shipping, through flat rate and free shipping and calculated shipping, and adjusting those calculated shipping numbers. But really just stick to basics, and once you learn more and more about shipping, you're gonna be able to get more and more sales and make more and more money. But this is probably the number one thing holding a lot of people back. They have outrageous shipping numbers. I even see very experienced sellers. Sometimes I'll go into their store, and even though they're several hundred miles or even several thousand miles away from me, they still, the shipping rate should be higher. But sometimes I'll see like they'll have lots of something, or like an item where the shipping is like $68 to get to me, or $115 to get to me. Nowhere across the country should anything that weighs under 20 pounds be $115 to ship. So if you guys can really clean up those policies, it's gonna lead to a ton of sales. If you are an absolute beginner or just pretty new to this process, when it comes to shipping, what I would recommend doing is actually just looking for items that fit in a 12 by 12 by 12 box or smaller. The average NBA basketball is like 9 by 9 by 9. So even bigger than that. Like a toaster only is gonna go in like a 10 by 8 by 5 by 6 box. So you can go for like fairly large items, but anything that is bigger than 12 by 12 by 12, anything that those three numbers add up to be 37 inches or larger, I would stay away from. Now, when you do find those items and the profit is awesome, what I recommend doing is just listing them how they are, but their weights and their dimensions exactly once they are packaged, and put that in, and then pass the discount on to the buyer option. Then once you've sold a few dozen or a few hundred items, now you know what things actually kind of go for across the country. Now you can start adding a few pounds onto those, so that way once they sell, you can add the exact measurements, and then you can make sure that you make money. So every time that I list something, before I launch it, it will give me a quote. So like for a huge receiver, for example, if I list it as the exact dimensions, ground advantage, the shipping rate will be like $45 to $160. No one in their right mind is going to pay those rates. Maybe someone in Arizona will buy it from me at the $45 rate. But what I do is I actually just list it as the weight of the item, and then I put 12 by 12 by 12. When things are that heavy, it just really mostly depends on the weight. So once I change it to 12 by 12 by 12 and it's 30 pounds, then it brings the rate all the way down to $25 to $60. And that's a perfect range. Someone in Arizona is going to pay $26. Someone all the way in New York or New Jersey or Maine is going to pay $60. So that's what you can do once you add to your repertoire and once you've sent out a ton of different items. But if you just focus on items that will ship for less than $10 because they're 7 pounds or less and they all fit into a 12 by 12 by 12, you're going to be able to learn a lot about shipping and then really expand your knowledge from there. On top of that, my dad has had some experiences, negative ones, with USPS and UPS. He sent out a few packages that never arrived to their location, and it is ultra frustrating, and it almost destroyed his business. He almost let that emotional, terrible thing destroy him and his business and impede him from making thousands of dollars a month. So it's really important that even when you have these things outside of your control, even when you do everything right to ship out an item on time, sometimes it just never arrives because it gets lost. Sometimes you ship out an electronic that is in working condition, and when it gets there for whatever reason, it's no longer working, and you get bad negative feedback and people never return that item, so you can't get that feedback removed. Can't worry about that stuff. Don't let those things destroy your business, okay? A lot of times people will, electronics for example, they will claim that it doesn't work, just trying to get a refund so that way they can keep their functioning item and get a refund on top. Don't let those people do that. It's better to just take that negative feedback, in my opinion, and just keep rolling forward. Happens in my business all the time, and it's starting to happen in my dad's already, but that's okay. Don't let these things keep you from making tens of thousands of dollars a month and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But let these just slide off your back, keep making that money and change your life. Now, my dad is experiencing the roller coaster of sales. Some days he will get 1 or 0. Other days he will get 7 or 8. He currently has 500 items listed in his store, and he is selling about 35 items per week. The reason why he's able to continue on in this way, in a successful way, is because he has his full-time job plus this as a passionate side income that he's trying to build to become a full-time job. But he has the security of having his other streams of income with this on the side. Now, a lot of you guys are probably experiencing this roller coaster as well, and what my dad says is to just understand that it is very hard. I am a very logical person, and my dad is a more emotional person, and he says that he really struggles with, he loves to hear the cha-ching. He loves to just keep looking at how many of his items have a certain amount of views, which don't matter. Views don't matter, sales matter, but it's really hard for him to not focus on the views and the cha-chings and the, oh my gosh, it's been like 7 hours, where are the sales, things like that. But the more that you can relax and just understand that it's part of business, you're gonna see some hours you're going to have 4 sales followed by no sales for 40 hours. Sometimes you're going to have 1 hour every 90 minutes like clockwork. Sometimes you're going to have a huge mega Friday where you sell 17, followed by 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It just happens. It's part of business. But he's learning as a very emotional person that the more that he can stay logical, the more money he makes. But it's also important to stay emotional, celebrate your victories, have fun in this job. To treat himself, he went to Sizzler for hitting 10,000 on his 90-day total. And it's just about those little wins and those little battles. So I hope this video was informative and can help you guys. I'll eventually have my dad on the podcast. He's a bit more camera shy. I don't know if he'll ever really want to be on the channel, but he's okay with me talking about him and sharing his journey. One of his favorite things to sell are mystery grab bags, and he's super into coins and precious metals and what he calls toys, like Rolex spoons and like different postcards and things like that. He includes those toys in his mystery bags. But yeah, he's really enjoying it, and you can really enjoy it too. Come in with low expectations, build slowly, focus on things that people want to buy, not what you want to sell. Love you guys.